Well, hello. It's time for Mumamo, your weekly program dedicated to all things mutants and masterminds. And listen here, we were the world's only superhero TTRPG before anybody else claimed to be the world's only. So if you see that claim elsewhere, know that they're imposters. We are the only. Not them.
Usurpers, even.
Yes,
Right.
usurpers. Let's have that mouthfeel, usurper. But today we've got a great show. Caring for your own 4th edition menace. Now, when I look at that, read that title, I think, whoever wrote that never had to deal with chat.
Our own 4th edition menace.
Our own 3rd and 4th, you know? Look at chat. Thank you. I'm glad you can hear me, Raymond. Thank you so much. Pook says we can hear you. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. Gene's here. Good to see you as well. Who else do we got? Watcher of Classics is still here, still working on 4th edition stuff. Hey, I like that. Let's see. Devious and Tempo, you know, you're always holding down the fort. You pop in early and you stay late. You're a true trooper. And it's appreciated. Speaking of who's here, knock knock.
Easy.
You.
Hi.
Hi guys. I wasn't sure if you're gonna take the bait. You're like,
Right.
just silence. Hey, we're doing a show today on so I have learned a little bit about it. Again, you know, that the menace in question is not chat means that there's something else that I needed to learn. And it's all about that 4th edition has a new feature, a new innovation called, is it the menace? Menace? The menaces? The menace?
Well, menace is a status that, you know, certain characters can have.
Okay. All right. So a quick question. Let's explain it real fast, but I also want to know, like, what precipitated the addition.
Well, the idea for menace basically came from years of experience with 3rd edition. And one of the challenges of 3rd edition Mutants and Masterminds in terms of adventure design and encounter design was how to make individual master villains effective against a whole group of characters. Because you'd have 5 or 6 player characters who would each get their turn, and then the villain would just get 1 turn. And then it would go back to the heroes having, you know, their 5 or 6 turns. We came up with a bunch of different, you know, sort of tricks and ways to, you know, address the solo villains having fewer actions, and they were a little kludgy, but so in the new edition, we came up with the idea of menaces initially to give solo characters more action options. And in playtest, a lot of folks pointed out the idea that a lot of those things were very much like the extra effort mechanic. And I love when we can extend a already existing mechanic to do something else. So we just ended up basically giving menaces more bonus uses of extra effort to sort of, you know, go the distance with multiple opponents.
Nice. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Hey, real quick, I want to pause the conversation and just say, yeah, you. Hey, look, Nate's here too. Good to see you, buddy. Always nice when you pop by stream.
Yeah.
Alex, you just finished your stint at Origins.
I did. I survived.
And you survived.
Despite everyone's best efforts to kill me.
So it was dynamic and fun and lots of chaos and good craziness.
Yes, yeah, lots of great experiences. I ran a lot of fun games. I got to hang out with some cool Mutants Masterminds fans, and we did all of my events for 4th edition. So
nice.
I got lots of experience with the Menace rules.
Okay, yeah.
Ranging from a menacing creature made of the psionic goo that is in all Choco cookies.
Okay, great.
Which is like
any pop stars, any pop divas make an appearance?
No pop divas. what else did I have? I had I had a White Martian Menace, of course, who was there
Nice.
to facilitate everything. And I made a 50-foot tall Bride of Frankenstein made of 700 smaller corpses, who was also a menace.
Wow.
I got put on a
Okay.
list
Well,
when
that
I Googled how many human bodies do you think it would make to make a 50-foot contiguous human body.
for the both of you, I shudder to think what the Google search engine has to tell. It was okay. So, how do you see the dynamic of your game changing or shifting with the addition of Menace?
I mean, it's a really handy rule, and everybody really liked it. Steve was talking earlier about the action economy difference between player characters and NPCs, and I've always referred to that as the office space principle,
Mm-hmm.
where the player characters are just beating up the copy machine in the alley that happens to be the big bad evil person. And it really helps facilitate it prevents the big villain from getting overwhelmed, and it also really helps facilitate role playing. I've found because the interactions come at the end of other people's turns, so the villain gets a chance mechanically in real time to throw out a quip or have a reply to what's going on, and it really I like the conversational aspect of it.
Yeah, agreed.
Nice. That's great. And so, I'm trying to wrap my mind around how that would work as a GM and what that looks like, and how does it change like your planning and your prep?
Not so much. I mean, you have to identify which villain should be the menace in a
Mm-hmm.
given scene or a given scenario. That's a little bit of prep work.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's a standardized list of actions they can take, it really helps with the improv in the moment of being able to react in real time
Nice.
to what's going on.
Yeah. If you're doing
I
prep
like
with menaces, you can take a look at the list of options for extra effort and look at the ones that work best for that character. And especially if you're building in things like they could take an extra reaction or the like, you can also plan it in terms of what are their reaction advantages, what are their powers that have the reaction feature that let them, do additional things in the midst of an encounter.
Mhm.
Nice. Gene asked a question. Who are the villains you think are Menace level? Is that how Menace works?
It isn't exactly.
Mhm.
Menace is something that you layer on top of a character. So there are menaces who are going to be very high power level, and you're going to get your, power level 15 and 16 plus menaces. But there are also going to be menaces who are going to be lower power level. That's going to be much like the, player characters, in terms of their overall level. And so it's one of those things about really what is the character's role in the story, rather than their power level per se.
I'd like to
Gotcha.
encourage people to think about, like, if you've ever seen the opening scene to a Marvel movie where they're finishing up a last villain fight. Sometimes that villain is the main villain of a whole story arc, and maybe they're a menace in that instance. But when they're like, we're cleaning up and we're introducing the story beats, they're just a regular villain that can be knocked out in regular order.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a static.
Gotcha.
It's not a static thing you add to every villain you create. I think it's a contextual element that you add to it based on the story you're
Right.
telling.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Contextual is a
really
good way of putting it.
that's great. Yeah. And Watcher Classic says I can imagine those being extra types of actions they can only use within the layer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could definitely do it that way too.
Yeah. Dennis the Menace. I get it, friends. Hey, Void. Good to see you, friend.
Yeah. Oh, I did at Origins. I did have another menace. For the first time ever, I cosplayed the villain of my story at the table. I was Loki on
You
vacation in Las
cosplay.
Vegas, and I still have glitter in my beard from trying to get the ice effect on my face.
So what did your costume consist of? Did you get pictures?
I got a few pictures. I'll see if I can find them and post them. We had a
Yeah, it'd be great.
videographer at the mega event for the first time, so the pictures are still being
Nice.
developed.
Processed, and that's great. That'll provide lots of fun content.
Yeah, but I realized the other GMs did have costumes, and I was like, well, I don't have a costume, so I have a Hawaiian shirt. Loki's on vacation, causing trouble on Eris's behalf. I wrote the adventure around my costume.
That's ingenious. That's the way
Right.
to do
Yeah,
it.
it was fun though. They went to a little town I created called Cerulean Springs that Loki had turned into like a rockabilly Route 66 vibe for the Frost Giants. So it was like people rollerblading around at the burger joint in the drive-in theater, but it was also negative 364 degrees Fahrenheit because as you
Mm-hmm.
do. Um,
Right, right.
and in that adventure, Loki was and was not a menace at different instances of the game, depending on what else was going on. Like when he was basically introducing the initial fight scene and had a bunch of frost giant minions, and I knew
Mm-hmm.
that Loki was going to leave in the middle of the scene. I didn't implement the menace rules for Loki at that point, but at
Right.
the end of the story, when they were finally facing off against him, I made him a menace.
And that's one of the
Nice.
aspects of the menace rules is that because they're keyed off of how many actions each side gets. If a menace has a lot of minions early on, they're not going to be able to use as much of the menace options. But as their minions get whittled away, they get more menace options.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah, that adds a
I like
really
that.
interesting strategic question for the players and a momentum to the fight that I've discovered,
Mm-hmm.
where they have to decide: do we focus on the big bad guy while they don't have all of their menace actions, or do we try to get rid of all these extra characters, knowing that the menace will become more dangerous if we do so?
Right.
Oh, that's clever. I really
Yeah.
like that. You add some dimension of kind of technical and tactical discussion. That's fun, super fun. Now, Tempo asks this question, and I'm maybe I'm
Mm.
missing kind of the ultimate here. Are there villains that will always be a menace?
I mean, there are villains who are almost always menaces, in that
Yeah.
that's almost always the context that they appear in.
Hmm.
But it's you always have to have that almost qualifier in there because menace is it depends. It's not always guaranteed.
Yeah, I
Got
think
you.
I
And
think
then
it will help people
yeah.
to not think of menace as a character sheet thing, but a
Hmm.
plotting thing. I
But a
think
plot
that's
thing, yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, the plotting thing dependent upon location and point in the storyline. And like you were saying, how many of the minions are
Yep.
left? Like there are elements that change
Yeah,
that.
very much so. I mean, you can think of it in the reverse way. I did. I'm working on an adventure for fourth edition where the heroes take on a whole bunch of supervillains at once, and the way it's set up is all the supervillains are minions in that
Hmm.
scene, even though they're not normally.
Mm.
They're normally full-fledged villain characters, but in that scene, the heroes are meant to take them out fairly quickly because there are a lot of them, and otherwise the heroes would get overwhelmed. So it's set up so that the villains will go down fairly quickly because they're all minions in this context.
Yeah, I like
Interesting.
what
That makes
Steve's
no sense.
saying there because I think everybody should be thinking of minions and menaces as a pacing lever that you can pull.
Yeah, exactly.
Where like I need to be able to wipe out a bunch of these people in an instance, but they can still be dangerous if they get a chance to attack me.
Got it. Got it. And then the more, I guess for lack of a better word, intimate, like you're fighting one villain, that is a
Hmm.
menace, like that creates some extra texture. I like that. So the Void asks, I'm curious what your experience. I'm curious what your experience of the 4E menace rules are compared to Crystal Fraser's rapid fire rules suggestion for third edition. If you've ever played with that,
Not that I can recall off the top of my head. If I have, it hasn't been recently.
Yeah,
got
I
it.
can't remember the last time I even looked at those rules.
Devious is asking a question on behalf of our UK contingent. Edward Reed could not be here, but asked if there are two menaces in a fight
Hmm.
where the heroes are fighting them as well. Do the menaces get extra efforts for the presence of the added menace?
If they are fighting each other, yes.
Ah,
If the menaces are on the same side, then they actually lose actions.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a 3 or 4 way fight between like the heroes and multiple menaces, then yeah, the menaces get extra actions, but they're also probably using them against each other.
Yeah, I haven't thought about
got
this
it. Okay.
before, Steve. But if there are two menaces on the same side, do they pull from the same menace action pool, or do they have individual pools?
Effectively, they do, because menace actions are based on the number of actions on your side versus on the other side. So if you have multiple menaces on the same side, then yeah, they're effectively pulling from the same pool. In fact, there's a option in Mastermind's manual where we talk about the idea of treating a team of characters as a menace. And that's just intended to balance out disparities of like 3 supervillains versus a team of 6 superheroes. You can give the whole villain team basically the menace pool and let them, all 3 of them, draw from it, or however many there are of them.
Interesting. Okay, I like that. One of the, let's see, imagine a menace being downgraded to a minion would either mean the superheroes are becoming more powerful or the supervillain has significantly lost a lot of power and menace.
Yeah. And again, that's really based on the plot and what's going on in it. It isn't like, the villain is necessarily going to significantly dim or the like, but it just might mean that the heroes have the upper hand, that, something has happened.
It's a really clever way to bring in the element of, sometimes you're on your game, sometimes you're just, I like that a lot. That is fascinating. And there was a question that I had about this, and I'm trying to jump to our conversation. And you had said that that was good. That's good. I was going to. So you were talking about the menace options for villain archetypes. Do we want to talk about that a little bit and what that means or how it differs?
Yeah, we can. As far as that goes, there is in Mastermind's manual, we present a whole series of villain archetypes from really, really high power level to fairly low, like PL, 8 or 9. And each archetype has a menace section that says basically this is what you might want to take into account if you make this character a menace. And it varies from archetype to archetype because they have different uses and different sort of functions so far as that goes. And let me take a look at my notes.
I'm going to ask this question real quick. So kaiju would be a menace?
Again, the answer to any is this thing a menace? The answer to all of those questions is it depends.
The context and yeah.
There is no absolute correct answer to is this thing a menace?
Yeah.
Well, and really it's contextual, but does the GM need this villain to be a menace, right? As far as
exactly.
Does it play? Does it tell a better story? Does it create a better adventure? Does it escalate the, all that good stuff? There's another question here. I don't think, Nate, that weather would kind of fall into this unless I guess you create it as an entity of some kind.
Yeah, I mean, I would tend to handle things like environments and disasters and things like that with a little more game master fiat myself. I don't think you have to worry about how many actions they have or whether or not they're using extra effort or things like that, especially since a lot of those things are giant area effects anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I think depending on the type of scene you're doing, it wouldn't be a menace per se, but a cool thing to do for a natural disaster would be to do a check sequence where the players do something and then something happens with the natural disaster doing something back and forth, sort of taking that philosophy of a menace. But that's contextual. If this scene is meant to be a big chunk of your adventure, you don't want the whole scene to just be we all rolled dice and the thing went away. So coming up with little role-playing moments or little vignettes, I think, is a good taking that philosophy of menace and applying it to this idea.
How many archetypes or villain archetypes do we have?
22.
22. Nice.
And that's fully fledged villain archetypes that each have 4 pages of text or something like that. That's not counting the big section of minion archetypes. Of which there are far, far more.
There's a lot.
Okay,
there's a lot.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot. Okay, nice. So there we go. And then the other question was, a really great question as far as do players know when menace rules are in play?
That, to me, is up to the GM, but it's pretty easy to tell, generally speaking.
Yeah.
If the villain is taking a lot of bonus actions or doing a lot of, menacey type things, chances are they're a menace.
Right.
Yeah, every time this weekend I did say we're using the new menace rules for this moment, and
Right.
I would say I have this many menace actions, and then at the start of each round I'd say my menace pool has refreshed, so that
Yeah.
they know sort of what to expect.
Watcher Classic says, I can see a jobber archetype being a menace in a street level campaign and being a normal villain in a PL10 campaign.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that's more of a minion thing, but there's a great scene in there's a Batman and Superman movie where they're on the run and a bunch of villains show up who are usually like, I'm the star of my own comic right now, but they all just get bodied by Batman and Superman because they're
Right.
using minion rules.
Right.
So Michael Chet says menace is a methodology and not a category. Isn't it more of a state?
Yeah, it's a status. And
Yeah.
like I said, I think Alex really nailed it when he said it's contextual.
Yeah.
So it really depends on, is this character a menace in this scene?
Yeah, and I wonder if we are. I'm trying to think of a way to say it, but we've said it so many good and different ways. I'm not calling chat dum-dums, but I'm trying to think if we're not covering it in a way that is making clear sense. But we'll get there. He says, could you increase the menace actions if there were favorable conditions for a menace, such as them being in their lair?
There isn't a specific guideline for it, but obviously you're the GM and you can do whatever you want. So
yeah,
it certainly makes sense.
I might suggest not increasing the amount of minion actions, but coming up with new minion actions related to the things they have in their lair.
I agree with Alex
that's how
on
I
that
would
one.
handle that.
I would give them some specific menace things they can do in their lair, or you can have, again, since it's all context, you can say this character is a menace in their lair, but not otherwise. That's where they get all of those options.
Oh, Steve, I do have a fun thing to report from Origins. I almost had my first TPK.
Whew, nice.
In a Mutants and Masterminds
Really?
game, and it wasn't my fault.
You haven't had one yet, huh?
Not in M&M.
You're not supposed to have too many of those in M&M.
Yeah.
No, yeah, you're not. Yeah, curious.
Yeah.
What happened?
So actually, Troy, your character, Pintar of Celtron 3, the alien malcontent who hates all Earthlings, stole.
Just wants to get the heck out of here.
Yeah, stole an experimental volatile explosive fluid from the other table he went to in the shuffle. And when he came back to me, he tried to put it in Loki's pocket as he tried to pickpocket, and I had Loki rolled a nat 20 to notice. So Loki grabbed it, and Pintar was like, I shoot it. And
was there supposed to be an enormous kaboom?
Yeah, there was an earth-shattering kaboom. It was a rank 25 explosive device. And every person at the table failed the dodge check and the toughness check by very significant degrees until one of the characters noticed, wait a minute, I have something that instant counters explosives. Can we just retcon for a second and say that I used that ability? And I said, of course, you don't know M&M. So we re-rolled it. And again, it was an opposed powers check between their gravity control power and my rank 25 explosive device. And I rolled a natural 1 on the instant counter check for the explosive device. And I was rolling out in the open for everybody to see.
So you couldn't fudge.
Yeah, and they were like, so Loki got a natural 1 on that, right? Can Loki be the only person who died from this? And then they described it as the Wile E. Coyote blown up, blinked twice, and just turns to dust, which was, it was a great moment.
Perfect.
That is good stuff. Classic Mutants and Masterminds moment as well. That's just so great. Let's see. I like this, Paul. Paul mentions probably easy to think of whether someone is a menace or not by asking whether or not boss music is playing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Like that moment.
If there's menacing operatic music in the background, chances are they're a menace.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see, like a villain gets what they want and get away from the heroes. Yeah, I think if I'm following Eugene,
Yeah,
but it could be a
we handle that more as a plot complication in M&M.
Yeah.
Not necessarily a menace thing, but it's usually something that the heroes get hero points for, especially if it happens in the middle of the adventure and the villain needs to get away.
Yeah. Void. This is an interesting question, and again, I think it's something that GMs can wrestle with at their own table to see what fits best. But the idea that if the layer is taking, if you're running your layer like we've often suggested as like a being entity, that's yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. I mean, whether you're powering the layer by using menace options or you're giving the layer its own action, it actually works out essentially the same.
Yeah. Let's see here. Sorry, I was reading. Yeah, I do too. I just love the idea of creating your layer as a as a thing that reacts is really fun.
Yeah, it's really handy.
Really great idea. And if they're playing a pipe organ themselves, they are automatically a menace. That's true. So, okay, great. So what are some other things that we should know about playing or engaging as players with a menace? GMs when they should spring it on people.
Should we talk about what actually you can do with your menace actions? Because there's a specific list of things.
Yes, we
let's
should.
do that.
All right, so I've got the list right here.
Excellent.
So basically, you can use all of the different aspects of extra effort when you use any of your menace options. And unlike normal extra effort, you're not fatigued by it, so it's just a bonus. So a menace can take an extra action, pretty much any type, which includes an extra reaction. And that can be very handy given the interaction of reactions during the back and forth of combat. And a lot of that will depend on the menace's options for reactions, their reaction advantages and things like that. But it's worth noting that those extra actions can be also really good for menaces to do lots of different things rather than just make multiple attacks. They can use their extra actions to attack, impress, command, and do something else in the course of the whole round, so that they're doing a bunch of different things, but it's not necessarily a lot of the same thing.
Or if they're fighting banana,
they can use one of their extra efforts to gain a benefit of an advantage. And that's a double benefit with the action option, because if they don't have a reaction advantage, they can just double up on their cost, get a reaction advantage, and then get the reaction to use it if they want. They can get a bonus on checks, +2 on one check. They can do a power stunt. They can increase the effect of one of their ranks. They can do a renewed attempt on things that require extra effort. They can give themselves a new resistance check, this is a great one for menaces, because if your menace villain gets caught in an effect that's ongoing, they can give themselves a bonus check to get out of it, so that they're not out of action or working under a penalty. And they can also use their menace actions to give a lot of these benefits to their minions, which is a really kind of cool background thing, including doing things like giving your minions extra actions and letting them do additional things.
Or if you're really mean, giving your minion an extra reaction and forcing them to interpose for you.
Well, that's one of the great things, is that you can use these things to give your minions reactions, even though minions don't normally get them.
Right.
Yeah. Void asks, is the action option doable multiple times a turn?
Yes.
Take 3 standard actions on the turn thing? Okay.
Yes, nice. It is. There are a few notes on some of the limits but generally, most of those benefits can be used multiple times.
Yeah, my experience from this weekend was that the majority of what I was doing was extra actions between characters' turns.
Tends to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Most
great.
of the other benefits are things that, if like you really need a bonus or you really need, to shake off an effect or something like that.
The Void also asks, so to give a minion a reaction, would that take 2 of their menace actions?
I would think yes, except for the base reactions that everybody can do. So if you want them to interpose or evade, it would take 1 to give them the use of a reaction. But if you wanted to do something like Fallen Inspiration or another kind of reaction advantage that's specific, like defensive throw or something like that, I think it would take 2.
Yeah.
But Steve can speak more to that.
That sounds right.
Nice. Void is asking some great questions. So menace doesn't need extraordinary effort to double up on extra effort bonus like non-menace
While
does?
they're a menace, they do not, no.
Mm-hmm.
I see, yeah.
But of course, some characters will have extraordinary effort because no character is going to be given menace status outside of a context. So when we present, characters in a source book, for example, we are not going to say this character is a menace because that depends.
Yeah, I like that. I do like that. Yeah, very interesting. I was just kind of thinking of moments when a villain is always a menace, but that's just kind of the wrong dimension to think about it.
Again, there are definitely going to be some villains who are almost always menaces, but that almost is important.
Got it. I like it. Okay. So what is that? Almost all villains are all menaces. No, wait. It's never mind.
All menaces are villains, but not all villains are menaces.
All villains are menaces.
Yeah, backwards.
Correct.
Backwards. Okay, I like that. Desmond says my minions tend to react a lot, often with screaming. Mine too.
That's not a reaction. That's free.
Yeah, screaming's a free action.
Exactly.
Could you use the menace rules as a kind of incremental clock throughout the scenario? Oh, interesting. Depending on how early encounters in this scenario play out.
I suppose you could, but it's really, just, a matter of keeping track of turns or actions so far as that goes. And the menace rules don't necessarily provide enhancement to that. I mean, you can just keep track of the number of rounds that go by.
I wonder if, Paul, if are you thinking like of a hyper story element of, it's noon, the menace clicks on because of something that happens in the environment, or suddenly a bunch of minions vanish, or interesting.
Yeah, to be sure.
So let's see. Yeah, there is Dennis, who was always a menace. That is very true.
Indeed.
I did fine on my SATs, Michael in chat. The GM. So, Gene, what we said is that the GM doesn't. I mean, you could, and like Alex gave an example of how he did, but you don't always.
Yeah, exactly. That's up to the game master's style. They can say, "Hey, this character is definitely a menace," or they don't have to.
Yeah. I've always been a very above board game master for Mutants and Masterminds because of the hero point mechanic, where I almost always say, "This is the DC you're trying to get," or "I'm using menace rules right now," or "This is how many menace actions I have left." But you don't have to do that if you're more secretive than I am.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and as a player, just keep your eye out for all these things that we were kind of talking about, the markers of a menace.
Yeah. There's I personally don't see a benefit to disguising the idea that the villain is a menace, because they will take actions and your players will be like, "What's happening?"
I was going to say they'll be able to tell very quickly.
Yeah,
that's right. Let's see. Oh, sure. Omega could be a menace.
Yeah, Omega's one of those characters who is in that almost always category.
Yeah.
Unless you want to Worf Omega and have somebody big and scary show up.
Exactly.
Right. Let's see. If I got all the questions on the reaction question, Void meant, is it one to be able to give the minion
Oh,
one
I
of the
see.
benefits and a second to actually fuel
It is
that
not.
benefit.
You spend you give them the benefit with the one use that and you just don't use it. It's like the affects others extra. You take the benefit and you give it to someone else, so it's one use.
Nice. Since you could have menace music, sure. Dun, 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 dun. I like that. Omega's a PL19 or was in 3E. Does he really need it?
Well, that's a valid question too, and for some characters, it does also. The menace option allows us to rein in some character design. So some characters don't have to be quite so monstrously powerful because that option is out there.
Yeah, and I think that's contextual too, because if your player characters are PL16, I would say even at PL19, you still want the menace actions.
Definitely wants to be a menace, yeah.
Yeah, but if they're PL10, maybe not. Maybe being PL19 is enough that you don't want to just brutally murderize them.
Indeed.
Paul says, read the clock statement. Could you use the rules to adjust the villain's status in the final fight according to how well their earlier schemes?
Yeah, you could do that. And theoretically, menace is sort of all or nothing in that, you calculate the differential between the sides, and that's the menace benefit. But you could parcel that out over time if you wanted a character to get more menacing, over the course of an encounter. Start them with one extra menace action and build them up to their maximum number. You could play around with that.
This is great stuff. Let's see. Yeah, it would be kind of fun to have some menace music,
right?
To play. We'll have to look and see what we can drum up for people. This is funny too. Void mentions a feature for a villain, menacing music that makes people think that they're a menace even though they're not. Clever. Alex, what was another one of the crucial moments this last weekend at Origins when the menace points really came into play?
I think pretty much every fight was made more consequential by the menace rules being there and being an application. It did change I underestimated how long certain scenes would take, for sure. Like when I have a Justice League game that I run called Mars Attacks, where the White Martians have invaded basically an Oreo cookie factory, and have been feeding psionic energy into the vats that make the cookies until an apocalyptic Martian god named Chaco will emerge to destroy all the world. And Chaco in the first fight took about an hour and a half of combat for my 4-hour scenario, which I was anticipating like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. So knowing that they have all these extra actions and knowing that they're going to be tougher to deal with, it really it makes everything more epic, but it also takes additional time. And I don't know that I would have used a menace villain up front in a scenario again. And that was just a happenstance of the players can decide to go to Stryker's Island, where a bunch of Superman's villains are trying to escape while the White Martians are trying to break Lex Luthor out, or if they go to the cookie factory to see what's going on over there. So that was just they went there instead of there. So I could have pivoted and moved the menace somewhere else, but I just wanted Chaco to be really cool and tough because he's made of cookies and shoots burning hot cream on people.
Okie dokie. John says, so it seems genre appropriate that some villains should only have that status within an adventure and that their scheme is foiled and their MacGuffin is taken away.
Yeah.
Or even vice versa, right? Like something gets removed from it and then they become, less minions or what have you.
I did do that with Loki when his Eye of Chaos was taken away from him. He reverted back to regular rules and lost a couple power levels.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that. Let's see. Desmond says Galactus gains more menace per planet in your solar system you have yet to save.
Yeah.
You can play it that way. Yeah. As an aside, y'all aware that there's a British Dennis the Menace who was created at the same time entirely. I think I did hear about that. Yeah, that they're dueling Dennis the Menace.
Dennis's the Menace.
Dennis's of the Menace. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. Obviously, the best Menace music would be Julius Fusik. I don't want to use up our F budget.
Right.
Entry of the Gladiators. Sure. I like that. Now, Tempos mentions there's also the possibility of a minion becoming a menace.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, a nobody to nightmare scenario where the small-time joke villain becomes an actual mastermind villain.
There's just like in 3rd edition, there's a Mastermind's manual archetype called the Jumped Up Nobody, who is a classic, minion to menace character type, and we talk about the notion of also making them a menace on top of that. And there's a whole jobber scenario called Look Who's Not Laughing Anymore, where the jobber gets a big power up and becomes a menace, and all of a sudden is not a joke character anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Let's see. Paul says, while it might seem difficult to parse, in theory, we all know when the big climactic scene happens in a comic book or action film.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's another one of those reasons, like Alex says, about being fairly transparent with your players, is to be like, hey, this is the scene where you want to spend all those hero points.
Right.
Just so you know
that you've been hoarding over there. Yeah.
I will say my favorite use of a hero point this week was not necessarily related to Menace, but in that same game, they found out that white Martians had infiltrated other parts of Metropolis, including the Daily Planet, and a player was like, can we say that Clark Kent is at work today because Superman is here, so we have an easy time knowing who the white Martian is?
I love that.
Nice. That's a great retcon.
Mm-hmm.
The jumped up nobody archetype would be great for that.
Is indeed.
Yep.
Great. That's my favorite archetype.
John says, and to show you comics are the British Dennis the Menace is the grandson of the original.
Oof. Oh, that's a whole another comics continuity I don't have to keep track of.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Thank goodness we're not doing Dennis the Menace, the TTRPG.
Our DMs are open though.
Right.
Yeah, I do like a jumped up nobody.
Yeah, they're fun archetype.
They really are. Non sequitur Nate, living up to your name and title. I don't know what Menace.
I think they're trying to decide what the plural of menace is. I think that's the debate that's going on in chat.
I see. That makes sense now. Yeah, okay. Menace.
Menakai.
Yeah, right.
Menakai.
I was like,
Menace.
Menaces. Menace. Yeah, I like it. Okay, great. So, what when having this feature, this innovation at your fingertips, what's a great way to kind of introduce it for the first time that you would imagine? A nice, safe kind of let's test this out sort of moment.
Well, I hope when people start 4E that they're going to be starting new games. Or if they are continuing their ongoing game, I would suggest starting with a one-shot that sort of showcases a lot of the new rules. And I would end that first adventure with your first menace combat.
With a menace fight, yeah. And I would say go easy on the menace in terms of their capabilities when you do your first one, because like we were talking about, menace makes up for a lot of the power level differential. So you don't need the menace to also be like 4 power levels more than the player characters and a menace on top of it. You can probably start with a menace who's 1 or 2 power levels more than they are, or even close to their power level, and also a menace just to start with, rather than going all hog and having a unbelievably unbeatable menace.
Yeah.
Right.
I would even suggest peppering some minions into that first menace fight, so they've got fewer menace actions to work with to start with.
Yep.
I think that could be a good dial, like a difficulty dial, Steve. If we do like, usually it's one action, like it is the difference between our party members, but maybe there's ×2 or a half, depending on how really difficult it needs to be.
Yeah, agreed.
I like that. So, Devious asks, should menace points then be reserved for the final fight, or is there a case to be made for using them earlier?
Well, first of all, and I know that we're working on the parlance because it's sort of a new thing. There are no menace points. There is no such thing. Menaces get a certain number of free uses of extra effort every turn, and they renew every turn, so they don't run out. They can choose not to use them if you want, but there's no points to keep track of other than keeping track of how many times they've done that round. And whether or not you want to use them outside of sort of the climactic fight depends on how quickly you want everybody to know this guy's a menace. There's a lot to be said for actually having a character, be a menace right from scene one, just so the heroes are like, wow, this guy's tough. He just, wiped the floor with us. We might need a better plan or a bigger boat,
Right. Michael in chat asks, do we know about Doom points from Tales of the Valiant? Enough about Doom points to make a comparison between?
Well, enough to reiterate my earlier point that they are not points. So, in that regard, they are different.
They're a state of being.
My bad, Steve. I may have done unbreakable damage this week.
I
didn't call them menace points. I said I have my menace actions and my menace pool refreshers.
Menace actions is fine. I mean, uses, whatever you want to call them. It's interesting to note that early on in the 4E process, we had challenge points that served some of this function initially, and playtesters really didn't like them. Overall, we got a lot of generally negative feedback on them, which is how menaces came about initially.
I really liked the challenge points because that meant they were tied to the adventure, not to the characters in particular. But it was a resource the GM can use on anything that they needed to use them on. But that's fine. I'm allowed to be wrong.
We'll have an optional rule out there at some point.
John asks, how would one use the menace rules to up the difficulty of a non-combat challenge? I'm thinking of here, say, a climactic chase or a finale.
Well, like we were talking about earlier, if it's more of a challenge sequence or something that's kind of environmental or things like that, that's just Game Master fiat. That's just up the difficulties, increase the threshold for success, that sort of thing, impose some conditions and the like. That's not really a menace thing.
There is a way, so some of our adventures end with scenes that are a conflict with a check sequence aspect combined. You could use the menaces actions to do stuff in the check sequence to make life more difficult for the players, like make a school check on their behalf that adds degrees of failures to what the heroes are doing. But you want to make sure you've got a decent enough bubble of this many of successes before this many of failures, because then the menace could just automatically win the skill challenge, the check sequence portion of it.
Right. Agreed.
But that's one way to put a thumb on the scale. If you need to, just don't abuse that. Make sure they're using most of their menace actions to do other things in the scene other than just screwing everybody over.
Yeah.
Don't you do it, Nate. I think I turned it off so you cannot. The eternal battle of Nate giving us $1 here, 50 cents there. Let's see. Devious asks, aren't Tales of the Valiant Doom points are okay? Aren't Tales of the Valiant Doom points optional combat resource for the GM, functioning effectively as a monster inspiration?
They are much more akin to the challenge points that we had in earlier versions. Essentially, if you have access to the challenge point draft, basically you want something like Tales of the Valiant Doom points. That's pretty much it.
Got it. Let's see. The Void said the closest equivalent might be to adjust how often checks need to be made or how many successes are needed based on how many PCs are currently actively working on it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just tailoring your challenge, your check sequence. Anyway, just generally, that's how
Right.
those are meant to work.
Well, I dig it. I dig it a lot. Looking at we've got 10 minutes left. Do any kind of closing thoughts on Menace as a mechanic, as a tool for the GM?
Alex?
Yeah, just based on my experience this weekend and other times I've been running for over the last few months, I would say use your minions, use your menaces with confidence. They really, really improve every scene that they're in. I wouldn't oversaturate your adventures with them, but
Mm-hmm.
know that when you set up a combat scene that involves a menace, it's going to inherently be more exciting and dynamic for the players.
Mm-hmm. And as Alex
That's
pointed out, also a little bit more involved and therefore possibly a little longer.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nice.
And always be ready to say something really pithy or really mean during every
Mhm.
menace section.
Yes.
Have you two caught the miniseries by it's a comedy troupe, but it's about Chit?
I don't
Mm-mm.
think so.
It's really very funny and very clever, but they had a finale. I think it's one of a 2-part finale. It's just kind of sketch comedy, and they did some you little turd
You did not
character
turn that off,
putting his
Troy.
hand in first. I did not turn that off. Darn it. Let's see. Here's I wanted to ask. Yeah. As soon as there is some art to show, we'll wheel
Yeah,
it around.
absolutely. We will have previews of Heroes Handbook art. I don't necessarily know about soon. It depends on your definition of soon.
Right. Yeah. Right. Our definition of soon likely different than yours.
This year,
but
yes.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
On the cosmic scale,
Also,
soon.
Yes.
Soon. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on the grand cosmic scale, and also when there's art, you're going to be like, shut up about the art
Right.
already, because we want to
we
share
want
and
to
show
show
it
it
to
off.
everybody. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, so okay, this is great. This is good information. It's another fantastic innovation found in 4th edition, which I think is a lot of fun. But why don't we do this? Let's skip to the part where Steve, tell us what's going on in the Steve Kenson cinematic universe.
Let's see. I am working on Earth Prime Gazetteer, which I am going to try and drop folks a preview or two of as things progress over on the Atomic Think Tank. And I am working on part 2 of the Freedom City Discord adventures. That is working title The Lighthouse Job. And has some fun elements to it. I just figured out who the missing villain I needed in the team for this adventure was, and it's one of those like, oh, that was obvious. I should have figured it out that sooner.
It's Arctic Fox, right, Steve?
It is not.
I could have told you that.
When in doubt.
And generally, working on all things 4E to keep things going.
Real quick, I want to answer a question in chat. Do we have any idea when the Kickstarter backers who bought their art tier will be reached out to? In mere moments. Indeed. I just got your addresses, and I'll be reaching out to you directly to get all of your stats.
Just had a meeting about that.
Yep. We sure did, and looking forward to it. How many people are there?
25? You have the list.
Yeah, I know.
I do have the list.
Loads, mate.
Right? But yeah, I think it's 25.
But, yeah, about 25. Well, I'm going to send a little form around. But Alex, what have you got cooking? Gene wants to know if we will be seeing Untold Stories Chrono Crisis this week.
Yeah, so tonight in about 30 minutes, I'll be doing my office hours where I'll give more of a breakdown of Origins while we're playing Space Marine. If you have any questions about how the con went, or you just want to drop by and make sure I'm okay, make me hydrate, here for that. Wednesday, we will be back with Chrono Crisis. We've just disrupted the Time Scepter, and nobody knows what that means, not even the GM. So good luck with that. I'll be playing Arctic Fox. I get to be a Chaos Gremlin. It's awesome. Thursday, there'll be a new episode of the Titan City Serials podcast, and keep your eye out for some pretty interesting developments over at USP very soon.
Very interesting develops. Very, very nice. That's great. Thank you both so much for hanging out. Another wonderful Monday on the books. And I think we've all learned something too. A very special episode. All right. You are released,
All right.
my friends, because I want to talk about this, the Grad. The Grad is the Green Ronin Atomic Assembly Discord server. It's the official deal. You can get there by going to greenronin.in/Discord, and it will teleport you right into the belly of the beast. Speaking of belly of the beast, every Thursday I do office hours. It's where we hang out and talk and share our hopes and dreams and maybe a joke or two. It's really a wonderful time. It's a time for you to come and hang out. Maybe you're working on a project and you want to share a little bit of it. You have questions. You might even, maybe you are somebody who is waiting for something from me that's not unusual. Or you got a whole brand new idea and you want to share it with the world and kind of run it through the playground. Well, this, my friends, is the playground you're looking for. Get Tanked with Troy. That is Thursdays. It's about an hour after Thursdage, which is our weekly program all about the adventure game engine, and things are getting kind of cool over there as well because we're going to be bringing on a cartographer to talk about not this next. We will be soon, but I will be making some homebrew maps that are based on the guts of a creature. That's going to be fun, and you can join also my co-hosts for this special series, Ray LeBeau and the Duke in Purple, and we hang out and we have a lot of fun. Don't forget that the Atomic Think Tank is the place so you can come to find your GM, find your players, get some answers, and connect with events. All the things that I've been talking about you can access through the Atomic Think Tank. Just go to atomicthinktank.com. There's so much going on that we have to bring in a special correspondent to help us with all of that. And that special correspondent is none other than Devious Hearts. Hello, buddy.
Hey, how's it going today?
Oh, so good. So very, very good. How are you doing?
I am doing fan-damn-tastic.
Nice.
There's 1,000 Cheshire Cats grinning inside my soul right now.
That's right. You have big news. Exciting
kits,
stuff.
Absolutely. The backer kits not only funded, but we have achieved the first stretch goal already. Now this is just fantastic. We've got the first stretch goal out of the way. We are currently at 127% of our goal, $25,325, awesome. 186 backers. There are 3 days left. That's it. 3 days before it's all over. I do want to thank everybody out there for backing so far. Also, I did get a question about somebody who at first thought that the prices were a little high, but they were American and didn't know, hey, look, that second price is the US price. If you look,
that's right. So for Americans, it's all like a quarter,
right?
Like 50 cents, 75 cents.
Well, instead of $70, when you do the backer kit, it'll be about $51 for you. So just to let everybody know, on that note. But you know what? That's not my job. You know what my job is?
Telling me what's in the tank?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's my job. Let me get on that for you. Right now, we've got 3 new articles in the Freedom City Library. We have Silver City, the Nameless Universe by Silvercat Moonpaw.
Moonpaw, I like that.
Wow, they are really coming alive and putting a lot of stuff in Aegis Files. And we'll get into that in just a second. We, of course, have the amazing Paul Rua doing the second part of his Whatever Happened to Next Gen article, essentially Hero High Part 2. And he's focusing on, wrong one. Sorry. He's focusing on the second edition, folks, basically the heroes from the second edition.
Oh, that's great.
And just, you can look above and then scroll down. It's like, wow, how does he do that? He's such.
I gotta say this real quick. RC says the Masks of Mayhem crew have backed it. Full support, full modules, full maps. Can't lose.
Yay! I'm actually working.
Great.
I've got a meeting tomorrow with Anna working on those maps. I am so excited about the tower, the Hero High Rise HQ. Oh, it's really
Yeah.
shaping up. Anyway, on to the next item. It's a player challenge. Number one, basically do a 7-word pitch. Fine, you can either do your favorite character
Cute.
or pitch for a new intriguing character. But we've got like Paul, of course, came in swinging. He's got like a 10
Of course.
here.
Right in his wheelhouse.
Right, super science gorilla with jetpack and ray gun. Ian McKellen as an aging Billy Batson. I thought that was cool. Atomic powered cowgirl, rodeo queen wrestles dinosaurs. All just phenomenal. We've got Eric Overak in there, Chris Davies, Andrew Antolick, Matt Lemons. It's really popular. So get on over there, take a look, and if you've got a favorite character, go ahead and tell us all about that as well. But
I love it.
Let's get to the Aegis Files because the earth has cracked open and out has poured Chris Davies and Silvercat Moonpaw.
More like the egregious files, am I right?
Oh my goodness, it is just, but I'm loving every minute of it. Even though my poor little carpal tunnel from all the copy pasting. Oh yeah, it's so hard.
Yeah,
but look at this. Look at this. I'm still going. I'm still going, Troy. Look at this.
That's fantastic. Look at all of this.
Between Chris Davies and Silvercat Moonpaw, I'm just beside myself. Thank you guys.
So we've been doing this now. We've been collecting files to place in the Aegis Files category for how many years now?
It's almost 3.
3?
Yeah, I think it's about 3 years basically. There's literally, and I'm not joking here, I'm not overemphasizing, there's literally thousands of stat blocks in here. And I think mainly because of Chris Davies and Silvercat Moonpaw, but also there's been plenty of people who have
certainly.
Oh my goodness, just so many. Paul has put them in there, Eric Vorak, and not just so many people have contributed. We would love to see your characters there. And what's great is it's all free. There's no cost.
It's all free, but this is like, think of it like a lending library where great ideas are just hanging out for you to pop in and borrow.
Yeah.
Listen, if you haven't had a chance to pop into the Atomic Think Tank, do understand that sign up is easy as pie. You have 3 questions to answer, and only one of them is super important. And blueprint to get a direct link right into the Aegis Files, and then you get to click through this, and then you get to borrow all these great ideas. You don't have to, pay homage to the person that's created it, but maybe you give them a like, or maybe you come back and tell a story about how you utilized the hero or the villain, the thing that they've created. That's what this is all about. And so you want to get there by going to atomicthinktank.com and dive in, because sooner that you start to kind of acclimate yourself to the thousands of things that are here for you to kind of play around with and build with, then you can start contributing your own.
And one of the fantastic things is what Silvercat Moonpaw is specifically doing. He's taking the archetypes from the Instant Heroes 2nd edition, which is just a bunch of them, and he's redoing them in the 4th edition. So these are ready to go. When you get your 4th edition rules, you have this entire backlog of stat blocks to go. But anyway, I don't want to go on and on because I don't want to make Silvercat Moonpaw blush. So moving on, we've got, of course, got to have this Moomamo. We have this evening, we have office hours, and Alex said he's going to continue playing with Calvin and Deuce playing Space Marines, but he is going to give kind of an Origins recap, get in there, ask some questions about it. We have Chrono Crisis this upcoming Wednesday, clocking in, and this is basically the episode that was advertised a couple weeks ago, but they had to put stuff on hold. Unfortunately, they had to get ready for Origins. Next, we have on Thursday morning, Graveyard Shift, Bodies of Work. Our heroes have seized a bone mech and are prepared to face the kaiju-sized Snotnado.
Boo.
And at first, when I got to that word Snotnado, I got it now. Okay, no one should have to put those words together, but Alex is the word.
No one should, it's very evocative.
But Thursday, of course, we have an hour after Thursdays, we have the office hours, and man, it's just a great opportunity to come together as a community and talk and get to know people. Come on in. I mean,
you don't have to have an agenda.
Yeah.
You can just pop right on in.
Show up, tell your stories about Means and Masterminds, or tell your stories about age, anything you'd like, or Green Run or conventions, or just come on in and talk. We'd love to hear from you. But
I would imagine that this non-NATO reaction is universal.
Yeah, pretty much. But and
All right.
Foundry VTT Commons, 3 days left. The backer kit, you can click right on there and go right on over. Get in the tank. Do it.
Fantastic. Well, my friend, I think that all that's left now is for us to say goodbye.
Goodbye. See ya.
Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Ciao.
3 days left. Backer kit. Love you.